You know what, Jack? I think that's the first time that this podcast is going to now have an explicit rating.
Well, no,
that's
I said Shih Tzu.
It's the first.
No, Shih Tzu's your dog. Shih Tzu's a dog.
That's a dog.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's a sleeper joke. I mean,
okay.
It's totally G-rated.
Okay, exactly. We're still family friendly. Do you love to travel?
Do you love road trips?
Do you love finding hidden treasures in towns all over the USA? Hi, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Craig. Welcome to Treasures of Our Town. It's the podcast that explores the unique and charming towns scattered all throughout the United States.
Join us as we venture into some of the country's most intriguing destinations, uncovering hidden gems and local secrets along the way.
On today's episode, wow, Josh, you got this guy here for us. Apparently he knows the Midwest, the entire Midwest, inside and out. He's brought the t-shirt. He's written a book. He's several books about it as well. We're going to talk to Jack Norton from Jack and Kitty team, also the Midwest Travel Podcast as well. They do a daily podcast, Josh.
He does so much as it relates to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we'll talk to him. I've never talked to him before. This is exciting. He's a big fan of like roadside attractions, and he's written a book. He's written a book, and we'll get to that, all about the things we love.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All the little treasures in all the little towns. He knows the Midwest.
Yeah.
We're excited to talk to him. But Craig, how have you been doing?
Well, a few people out there already know this. We're going to talk about our delays and upgrades, are we? We're going to get straight into that.
Let's get straight into delays and upgrades.
All right. I'll do my upgrade first because my delays are very, very, very annoying and very expensive. The upgrade for me itself is I've actually built out more of my camper van, my little SUV. I've put solar on the roof. So there's actually big solar panels now on the roof, and the wires go through the car itself into this big extra battery compartment. Now, the reason why I did all that is because I've got a brand new fridge in there now too, Josh. So I can actually have, it's a real camper, like a kitchen out the back now as well, fridge out the side. So yeah.
A fridge that you can put your beer, your soda, your Snicker bars, anything you want to keep cold, Tommy.
My Miller High Life, not sponsored, but if you're listening.
Yes.
So that's been my upgrade, but ready for the delay. The delay is this. Yeah. I had a trip planned all around again, another nice big circle trip up to Ohio and to the Midwest Geobash up there as well in Waukegan, I think it's called. And Waukegan, yeah. I had that trip all planned out on my Road Trippers app. I've had it ready to go. And then my car decides to go, I took it to the mechanic.
No.
It's an engine issue, major engine issue. So now I have to wait 4 to 10 weeks for an engine to be rebuilt, like an engine actually be made and built for me. And then he's going to put it in, and at a cost of $7,500. So there you go.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. That's a rough delay.
I know. I haven't started a GoFundMe page. I'm not going to do it.
I know you were so excited about going to Midwest Geobash because you never had gone before.
No, and I've got my car camper already too because it's a camping event. Like I would have stayed like 5. I had my campsite paid for, ready to go as well. I was in like the little vlogger area with Hailmeister and Jeff from Cash the Line. Remember Jeff? We had him on the show as well.
Yeah.
And Chronically Tired Mum, she was there as well. Lanissa, she was there ready to go as well. So they're all still going, but just not me. That's all. So anyway.
I'm sad for you, but now I don't have as much FOBO. Because I couldn't make it.
That makes me even more sad because I like to make you jealous like that sort of thing. So.
All right.
What about yourself, mate? What about your upgrades and delays?
Well, I didn't think about this in advance, but the sun is shining. The air is dry. We've got a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend in Minnesota. And, this podcast is all about the places, the things that geolocation games take us. And I'm just kind of excited because let's talk about Muncie.
Oh, yes.
Muncie this weekend, if you have some special stuff,
we
won't get into that. It's not double points.
No.
But triple.
That's huge. Absolutely points. Huge. Exactly. Did you listen to today's podcast, the Muncie podcast that I host with Rob?
I haven't got there yet because I also have the day off today, so I didn't do my commute. But I will listen. But triple points a day. Yeah. Can't remember ever Munsey giving triple points?
No, this is their first of triple points per se. But I saw as well on social media next month, Josh, if you don't play Munsey, jump in, have a look and see what it's like. Next month for premium members, there is a triple point weekend on everything, not specific items, but everything you get triple points on if you're a premium member for next month. So yeah, this is huge.
So much inflation.
Mm-hmm. I know. So do you have events this weekend in Minnesota, mate?
Yeah, so that's part of my upgrade too. We have 2 events tomorrow, which I'm excited about. We haven't had an event in like a month, so I'm excited to get outside tomorrow with my little boy Goliath.
Oh yeah,
and we will adventure into the Munsey events that Munsey is celebrating its 13th birthday.
Exactly.
And again, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you're here for the travel and you're like, what the heck are these guys talking about? Weird words, Munsey, what the triple what? Munsey is a location-based game. It's like if geocaching, and Pokemon Go had a baby.
Yeah.
It's whimsical, it's fun, it's points-based, it's leveling up, it's badges. It's a good time.
It is.
So,
and it's very communal as well, because we play with other team members. You can join a team. You can do all this. There's so much to do in Munsey. So yeah, jump on and have a look. And if you want more information as well, Josh, I have it in the show notes for my tutorials on YouTube. So there you go.
Yes. I don't have a delay. I'm going to give you another upgrade.
Okay.
Several podcasts ago, I told you one of my delays was I had a incident at a sack race.
Yes, your shoulder.
My shoulder, my back. I think I broke a rib, and I'd been going to the chiropractor for over 2 months. Well, I have been officially discharged, and I am healed. No more pain due to the sack races. So I'm healed.
Well done. Well, here you go. Talking of chiropractors, I never believed in chiropractors at all, Josh, but then I went to one and now I stand corrected. There you go. See?
Dad joke.
Yeah,
and
dad jokes.
Speaking of dad jokes, we should bring our guest, because not only is he a travel guru, but he is also a dad joke guru.
Exactly.
Welcome, Jack Norton of Jack and Kitty. Welcome to our show. Thanks so much for talking to us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Joshua and Craig. I appreciate you guys.
Mate, we'll get straight into it. Firstly, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where can people listen to you? I saw you've got a daily podcast, mate. What's going on there?
Wow.
Well, I had a lobotomy a few years ago. The result of that was a daily pot. No, well, I mean, we started, my wife Kitty and I, we were musicians for 25 years. We still are, but that took us all around the world, and we've always grew up in Minneapolis, both of us, and met in high school, and we primarily toured the Midwest, but I mean, we ended up traveling the whole world, but really do love the Midwest the best. And basically, kind of when the pandemic really hit, we lost about several hundred shows in the course of live gigs. I mean, we were just live gigging musicians, and like within the course of a few weeks, everything was cut, and we kind of just had to pivot and sort of think like, hey, what could we do? And we've always wanted to have a blog, and we've kind of off and on been bloggers and never really took it seriously. And we just decided to sit down and, take it seriously. And so we kind of created this Travel with Jack and Kitty thing and have pivoted into that. And it's basically consumed our whole life. We're not really doing gigs anymore, even though the world's open back up. We're mainly just doing travel blogging and then book publishing. And we're trying really hard to build podcasting and YouTubing. So I guess it was in September of last year that we started a weekly podcast, fell in love with it. I ended up interviewing as a guest Gary Arndt from Everything Everywhere Daily, and he talked about how important it was to go daily and how basically you'll build an audience quicker and you'll get better at it, and it's just there's more. I don't know. So we've been playing with the tools. Honestly, I don't feel like we're quite as pulled together as you guys are, because we've kind of been messing with formats for about 9 months now, 10 months, trying to figure out what it is we do. And so we're basically relaunching on July 23rd. So in a few days, we've been daily for about 6 months, but in a couple days, we're going to go daily video. And it's a totally new format where it's almost like making a mini movie. Episodes are going to be about 5-10 minutes. And like really supported by a lot of B-roll stuff we shot, on location, and then also just fun like visuals to kind of accompany the story. And so, yeah, that's going to be our latest thing. But I mean, as far as where people can find us, it's Jack and Kitty is everywhere. I mean, jackandkitty.com is our website, and that's kind of our whole world. And we're, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
we'll certainly have
story.
we'll have all the links in the show notes. So you're going to be able to find the blog, you're going to find the books, you're going to find the podcast that is every day, which is
the YouTube,
actually
the video
very impressive.
YouTube, exactly.
Yes, YouTube. Yeah. I think I discovered you, Jack, on TikTok. I think that's where I found you, and I was like, oh, a guy with a sweet Minnesota accent. I wonder where he's from. Of course, he's from Minnesota. You betcha.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I know I should take TikTok seriously, but it's so hard because I'm a horrible dancer, I'm a horrible lip syncer, I'm not a cute girl, so it's just got all those check marks against me. But, no, I should take it seriously, but I mean, I don't do as much as I should. There's only so many hours, and we've been so busy building the blog, and we really feel called to do blogging and book publishing, and by the end of the day, it's like, what do you put on TikTok or Instagram that does anything? You know what I mean?
Well, Jack, you've already been outed by Josh as well, because I haven't seen you on TikTok. I'll say that now. And you said
no
before,
one has. I guess
I have.
But Josh has.
I've heard some dad jokes on there.
I was going to say, let's put your like right on now. Right, this isn't in the show notes, so here you go. Exactly. There's no notes for this. What's your best dad joke that you say on TikTok as you go? Go now.
Well, this isn't really a dad joke. This is actually a true story. A man, my neighbor. You're from Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know about Ole and Lena, right? You don't know who they are?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
they're
I know.
Famous Minnesotans. They actually live here in Winona, Minnesota. They live just down the road from me here. And so Ole, he took his wife Lena to the zoo, right? New zoo, and they were really disappointed because it only had one animal. It was a dog, just a dog.
Oh, I know the dog.
Yeah, it was a Shih Tzu.
That's the one. I do love my dad jokes as well, Jack. So it's very rare.
I was like, oh gosh, I pulled it up really quick.
It's very rare, mate.
With, what do you call a sleeping dinosaur? Dino snore.
Oh yeah, see, there you go.
You know what, Jack? I think that's the first time that this podcast is going to now have an explicit rating.
Well, no, it's the first.
It's the first.
Shih Tzu's a dog. Shih Tzu's a dog.
That's a dog.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a sleeper joke. I mean,
okay,
it's totally G-rated.
Okay, We're still family friendly. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right. Good. So, speaking of books, you've written several, and we're going to get to them. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is I think your most recent book that I saw was, get this, guys. This is what it's called. Mm-hmm. Y'all are going to love this, especially our fans that listen to this podcast, because I think they like it. At least we like it. 101 bizarre, quirky, and totally fun adventures, get this, in the Midwest. So
all in the Midwest, baby.
All in the Midwest.
So we're going to talk about, I think, Jack, you considered the Midwest being, was it 12 states? Is it 12?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It technically, we're very official here at Jack and Kitty World Headquarters. And we're going by the actual census, like U.S. government has issued this is the Midwest, and there's 12 states. And so I know if you talk to a lot of folks in, Minnesota or Iowa, they get really upset with Ohio being included in this, because it's like, that's East Coast. I mean, you're like, it's just, people in North Dakota. But there's 12 states. And so that's kind of, when we first started blogging, it actually stemmed from when we first started blogging. We were just kind of all over the map because we had been all over the map. But our passion was really the Midwest. And we were like, we can't do a blog just about the Midwest, and we can't write books just about the Midwest. And it turns out the more we do that, the better it is. And the more fun we have. And I think it's just because we have fun with it that the audience has fun with it. So, so we're confining our adventures to these 12 states here in the Heartland.
Wow. How many books, before we move on as well, how many books do you guys actually have at the moment?
Well, we've got Guide to Iowa, Guide to Minnesota, Guide to Wisconsin, And then we're going to be putting out an Ohio one next month. And then even though they're not, but no. And then we've got the new one, the 101, which covers all 12. And then my wife and I, she has been a writer for off and on for 20 years. And so she created a series called Feel Good Stories. And a lot of it are like real stories, and then some that are like, creative fiction, but most of them are based in reality. I mean, they're true stories of, it's kind of like Chicken Soup for the Soul, but based in the Midwest. I mean, it's all heartland kind of stories. So she's got like 5 or 6 of those, I guess. And I sometimes write when she needs the bad dad jokes, or I'll drop in there. But that's kind of her. But I mean, we have our own publishing company, and so I guess about a dozen now. So about 6 travel and 6 fiction books.
I was scrolling through your website in readiness actually for this episode, and I saw one of your books you had out there as well, and this really intrigued me, and it was the Camping Journal and RV Travel Logbook.
Oh yeah,
because I'm a big traveler at heart, and especially RV, camper, that sort of style. So, yeah, what's that about, mate? What can people expect out of that one?
I mean, it's really basic. I guess I didn't even think about it. I mean, it's very basic. It's really, I should have mentioned it because it's a good seller, but it's just a camping journal. I mean, you have like your campground details, you have, where you stayed, and it's really helpful because I mean, there's little check marks where, is it pet friendly? Is it kid friendly? How do they have showers? What's the grill like? Would you stay next time? Who are your travel companions? So it's kind of like a journal diary mixed with just a kind of a helpful, if I want to return, this is the lot number I stayed at, or this was the Wi-Fi password, or just whatever. So we designed that, and that's another thing, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, no wonder that's a big seller.
He actually does all the work. So
we do like checking off those boxes, Josh, don't we?
Yes, we do. So in this latest book, 101 Bizarre, Quirky, and Totally Fun Adventures in the Midwest, you mentioned 12 different Midwest states. Can you just name the 12 states off the top of your head, Jack?
My God.
I'm putting you on the spot. But this is what we're talking about. So
okay. I wish we were visual because you guys can see. Okay, I'm showing both my hands. I'm not looking at anything. So Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota. Missouri.
There you go.
I was going out of order. Ohio and Wisconsin.
There you go.
Those are 12.
I think you got them.
Yeah,
I think you got them all.
He did. I've got the notes here.
Were used in this.
All 10 fingers and 2 toes. I saw he had his foot up as well, so it's all good.
So, as the expert of the bizarre, quirky, and totally fun adventures, what we're going to do, this is exciting, this is fun. We're going to go through each state.
Yeah.
Jack's going to tell us a little bit about the bizarre, quirky, and totally fun thing there. And I'm sure the book has many more other things, but we're just going to give you a taste of it. And then
it has 101.
101. Yes. And we're going to talk about 12.
12. One in each
So
state.
we're giving them a little taste, Jack. And then everybody's going to go, and they're going to go to Amazon or whatever, or to your website, and they're going to buy this book, and I'm going to buy it. And now we have a new checklist because Craig was right. We love our checklists. Check. I've been there. I never have to go there again.
Checklist. On my to-do list every morning, I'll write stuff I've already done just so I can check it off. I did that yesterday, but man, am I killing it today.
And Josh, I did see in the show notes as well, some of these places we've already had other people on mentioning it, like Olio as well, Olio in Iowa, for instance.
Yeah.
And we've had her on the show. And
is she on the show?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've had her.
And Valerie from Silly America as well has talked about a couple of these things. So we're going to have a couple repeats, but not everybody listens to every show.
And not only that, Josh, I love the different aspects that different people have, you see. So people can go see one thing, but have different experiences at it too. And that's what we're after too. So, all right, Jack, you ready for this, mate? I'm going to start you off. We're going to go Illinois.
Oh, are we going alphabetical? Or are we going? I guess Illinois is alphabetical. We can do Illinois. Best. The town of Casey, Illinois.
Oh, there it is.
Bunch of stuff. I mean, you go to Casey. You could just stay in Casey and get 101 things. No, maybe not quite 101, but the whole town of Casey. You should actually. It's worth Googling and looking up Casey, Illinois, because there's we write about the world's largest mailbox because it's the world's largest mailbox. But I mean, there's the world's largest wooden shoes. There's the world's largest. I think they have I want to say there was the world's largest grocery cart too, I think. But like we focused mainly on the mailbox on this one. And you can send a letter from the mailbox, and it's
it's an active mailbox, isn't it?
It's real. An active mailbox. Yeah.
And when you put the letter in, the red flag pops up. Just to let you know, as everyone knows, I'm Australian. We don't have that in Australia. For us to post mail in Australia, we have to go to a dedicated post box, which is normally 1 or 2 in every suburb in Australia. And they're on the corner of a street, and we just chuck them all into one post box. We don't have this arm thing coming up the side of your letterbox. So there you go.
I've been there, and I've mailed a letter out of that mailbox, which Jack is my favorite part of the town. Yeah. But if go on a non-windy day, because they don't have the flag activated if it's too windy. Right. They're afraid of that thing. Blowing off. No, you got that's your tip of the day. Go on a non-windy day.
Yeah,
you're right. Casey's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But apart from the mailbox, Jack, what's your personal favorite there in Casey? What do you think?
I mean, I really did get amped about the mailbox.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
well, it's interactive.
Man with simple pleasures.
You are male after all. That's hence the reason why you like the mailbox.
It's funny that you're Australian and your mailbox, because we had my wife and I, before all this, we had a show on PBS Kids, and it was like a little preschool show, and it was kind of like one reviewer called us Barney meets the Black Eyed Peas, because it was like hip hop for preschoolers.
Cool.
One of our 2 breakaway characters was a kangaroo who was from Australia, and he delivered the mail. It was a she. We found this out after the fact.
Yeah, in her pouch.
Yeah.
Men
That's how I always thought it worked in Australia. I'm glad to finally talk to a real Australian.
A real fair income Australia, mate. So there you go.
And I just want to make sure, so we don't get hate mail before we move on from Illinois. They do pronounce it there Casey, Illinois. Oh. Just so you know.
Really?
Don't make that mistake. It's Casey.
They're gonna hate the audiobook that's coming out.
Uh-oh.
Really, Casey? I've never heard.
Casey. That's how they pronounce it. Wow. If you go there.
I can blame most things on my Minnesota accent. So
there you go.
Like I do with my Australian too, mate. I do exactly the same thing. Exactly. All right, we're going to move on to the next one, and now in Indiana.
Okay. All right. Well, the world's largest. I'm doing a lot of world's largest, but
that's all right.
The world's largest egg, which is just egg. 3,000 pound.
Is it a real egg?
Yes, it was delivered by this huge bird, and they're still waiting for it to actually crack. And they're going to make exciting. It's a world exclusive just on your guys' podcast. I actually just heard this. They are going to make the world's largest omelet as soon as that baby cracks.
There you go. I think it might have been made by that bird that you can't hear it go to the bathroom. The pterodactyl, because the P's silent. But anyway, see, there you go.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. You
got him, too.
So this is not good. There's just too much.
It's
too much dad jokes.
Bad. I don't know if
sorry,
Britt should ever actually talk again.
So this egg is in Mentone, Indiana. And I'm looking at the picture. You would think that the egg would be like big side down. No, they have it a little stand.
It's 10 and the little tall, but it's
and the small side. It's upside down. It's upside down.
It's not the way your eye wants it to be.
No. Oh, really? So it's facing. So it's the point. It's on its point, basically. Is that the way it's standing on its point on a stand? And is it the world's largest in terms of size or weight, Josh? Do you know?
That's I'd have to look that up. It's 3,000 pounds.
It's 3,000. Yeah, I think they're going off of probably the amount of
food. Some of these things that these places build, etc. as well, they're only the world's largest until someone builds it bigger. Let's be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're
not the Ball of Twine, there's a whole controversy about that. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. We've talked about that.
I bet Julio talked about that, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
This was built in 1946, 10 feet high. It is inscribed with the egg basket of the Midwest.
Yes, and it's a symbol of the town's thriving egg industry.
Good for them.
There you go. Could be anything else. Exactly. Josh, you're up, mate. Where are we going to go next?
Okay. We're going to the state of my birth. That is the Hawkeye state of Iowa, home of Olio in Iowa. Let's just say, I want to say, we know, if you've ever talked to Megan, we talked to Megan for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of.
I could have talked to her before.
Yeah. We know there's a lot of cool stuff in Iowa. So, Jack, what's your bizarre, quirky, and totally fun thing?
I was going to talk about the gnome in Ames, but I'm assuming she already talked about the world's largest gnome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the Hobo Museum. Have you guys been to the Hobo Museum?
No.
Britt, Iowa. Okay. Hobo Museum, Britt, Iowa. Britt is this little town, and every year they have the Hobo Convention, and hobos from all over America, or hobo aficionados, or train aficionados, or just weirdos, all descend on Iowa. And it's like a 3-day hootenanny and party, but there's I think the theater, I want to remember, I probably wrote about it in the book, but it's the Chief Theater, I want to say. And I'm almost positive that's the name of the theater, but it's an old theater and they turned it into a museum. And it's cool because, it has like the hobo art, which is really cool. And some of the like graphics and some of the it's just a history of hobos, but it's like hobo capital of America, Britt, Iowa. And way back in the day, like, I don't know, when I was in my early 20s, so 2 or 3 years ago, I was a joke.
I did snicker.
I hopped a few trains, so it's close to my heart, and I used, back in the day, I really was I feel like when you're into trains, you're either 2 years old or you're 90, and for some reason, when I was 25, I was really into trains. So the Hobo Museum is really cool to me.
So Jack, what's the definition of a hobo? Is it somebody that jumps trains? Is that the definition?
They're very particular about what the definition is, and like tramps were one thing. I don't know if we actually included that, to be honest with you, because we wrote this a while ago. But hobos were people that were like, I don't want to get it wrong, because they'll get really.
I can tell you exactly.
Can you tell us? Okay.
I've got it exactly for you, Josh. It is a homeless person, a tramp, or a vagrant.
But there's different. No, they get really particular because there's like different categories, and I think the hobo is like a skilled worker who's willing to work. They're not like they're actively searching out work. I want to say that's the definition. Whereas a tramp is just kind of like coming around and like. It's all like lingo from like the 30s, like they were in the Great Depression, where like there were different categories of people, and I'm almost positive that hobos were like folks that were actively looking for work or would do day laboring jobs and kind of wander from place to place.
I didn't read all the way down, Jack. I apologize. So that was the North American version. Apparently the North American version is different to the US version. The US definition of hobo is a migrant worker.
There you go. Yeah.
So there you go.
Britt, Iowa, if you're following along, it's north central Iowa. So it doesn't look too far from the Minnesota border. No, I have never heard. Yeah, I've never heard of the Hobo Museum. That's fantastic.
No, you should go. It's like right off of 35. Best thing to come out of Iowa is 35. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
and Joshua Johnson
and Olio, but but it's like I think I want to say, if I remember, you take the exit for Buddy Holly, and then you go.
Yes,
I'm almost positive you hit Buddy Holly, and then you hit the hobos.
It's about 20 minutes. Yeah. 20 minutes from Clear Lake, Iowa. Yeah. So yes, that's very close.
Yeah.
There you go.
We used to stay at a hotel in Clear Lake, if I remember right, to go to the museum. But yeah.
Very good.
I don't think there is a hotel in Britt, Iowa.
There you go. Hobo Museum in Britt, Iowa. Get there. There you go. Get there. Next one we're going to have, Jack, for you is Kansas. Yes, Kansas.
Topeka, Kansas. Evel Knievel, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Do you know Evel Knievel?
Yeah, yes, I am aware of Evel. What happens in America happens throughout the rest of the world, but what happens around the rest of the world doesn't necessarily come to America. So I know American songs and pop culture and all sorts of stuff, but you don't know Australian pop culture and stuff either, Sue. So,
no.
Yes, I
love the Wiggles. Come on.
I love Men at Work.
There you go.
They come from the land down under.
This is true. That's the only. I hear that song. Here you go, Jack. We're veering off now. This is what happens. I hear that song, Men at Work, Land Down Under. I hear that here in the supermarkets more in the last 2 years than I've heard it my entire life, 40 years in Australia. So there you go.
So, Jack, we're traveling.
The board that did the Timey Dick Kangaroo?
The wobble board. Timey Kangaroo.
Rolf, what's his name?
Yeah. You can't like him now because there's been issues with him, like major issues with him. So no one likes him now.
I like the disco guy. You make me feel like dancing.
Oh yes, yeah. There you go. There you go. Anyway, we're not about Australia. We're talking about Evel Knievel Museum in Topeka.
It's really cool. I mean, it's Topeka, Kansas, and it's the Evel Knievel Museum, and there's a lot of artifacts, and it's kind of interactive, and there's video elements, and a big gift store that you could spend way too much money in. And I love that era of like American weirdness, and he embodies so much of this like strange showmanship. Like, it was just such a great era of. I mean, I don't think somebody like Knievel could exist today. I think they'd probably shut him down in some ways. So, I mean, maybe he could, but he'd probably be like a renegade YouTube star or TikTok star or something. But it's really fascinating. There's a lot of personal effects, and it's worth going to.
Do they have?
I do.
I was going to say, sorry.
I do have a memory of, I believe, seeing Evel Knievel in person.
Oh, really? You have?
Wow.
Yeah. He died in 2007. But in the 80s, I remember he came, I grew up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and he came, and I distinctively remember the car. His signature move was to drive the car on two wheels sideways.
Yeah.
Like they'd go up a ramp, and he was probably on so many different movies doing that, but that was his signature move.
Yeah.
He was very skilled in saying everything else as well. He was extremely skilled and obviously brave with the stuff that he did, and crazy into the stuff that he actually did. But to his museum though, Jack, does he actually have like a big ramp up the side or anything that you can ride a motorbike up and over the top of the up the top of the museum?
Yeah, it's fully interactive. I mean, they make you sign a waiver, but
exactly. All right, Josh, do you want to move on to the next one, mate?
All right. This one, I think it's going to be really bizarre.
Oh.
We're going to Michigan. Jack,
Indian River.
What's in Michigan?
Indian. Cue the horror music when you're editing this. Please drop it in. The Nun Doll Museum.
The what?
Nun. N-U-N.
Nuns. Yeah, doll, like as in
D-O-L-L. Museum. Okay.
Like the religious
so it's not like
people.
The no nuns allowed museum.
No,
it's
this is like 100 dolls dressed like nuns.
Wow. So we're talking about the religious sort of a nun that you have in a church and that sort of thing.
That's bizarre.
We are. Wow. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Wow. So how many dolls are in this museum?
What? There's
how
500. Yeah, there's 500. It's actually crazy because we just wrote. I mean, since this book, we're gonna that's the other thing with this these travel books is like basically every single year we're finding out. I actually was watching a thing with Rick Steves on how he does travel books, and it's like every year he has to put out a new edition because things change and he discovers new stuff. And we're already in second edition for the Wisconsin book and the Iowa book, and it's like this. We're gonna we discovered there's actually a little old lady here in Minnesota, in southern Minnesota, who created a cow museum. And this reminds me similar to that. The Nun Doll Museum is a little creepier, but the Cow Museum, yes, there you go.
Wow.
The Cow Museum is it's literally like if you want to visit the Cow Museum in Minnesota, you have to call her and schedule a time, and it's her house, and you just go and visit the Cow Museum. And it's not as creepy, but we're starting to discover since writing this, there's the world's largest nutcracker collection is in Laverne, Minnesota. And that is the same thing where one lady obsessed over nutcrackers and donated it to the town. And now there's more nutcrackers in Laverne, Minnesota than there are people at this museum. We also found the sock monkey museum, which I want to say is in Ohio. I'm pretty sure it's either Indiana or Ohio. We wrote about it. And it's like the same thing where these people get these collections and turn them into something. So yeah, Nun Doll Museum. Indian
Wow.
River, Michigan, $500 dressed like nuns.
What
more could you want with a family vacation? I mean,
that could make a great YouTube clip, like
Oh
with
my
the
gosh,
horror
no
music
kidding.
there behind it. We did that one in the library, Josh, with the webcams. We could do something similar to that. It'd even be better, I think, because these nuns, I reckon, would walk by themselves. Some of them, just to be honest. Like if you're not looking, just saying. So.
Wow. Yeah, there's dioramas of nuns at work.
Yeah, you can make your own nun. They have little nun making doll classes that you. Sock Monkey Museum has the same thing though, where you can go in and learn how to make a sock monkey.
Wow.
Craig, that kind of reminds me of our Georgia episode where Katie told us about where the Cabbage Patch dolls were born.
Yes. Have you heard about that one, Jack? No, because that's not. That's outside the Midwest. You don't know.
No, we watched. I will leave the Midwest occasionally.
Yeah, those Cabbage Patch dolls at the actual and they give live birth to Cabbage Patch dolls every day.
Yeah,
every day from the actual patch itself.
Don't they? I feel like they come out of the ground by a tree.
Out of the ground.
Out of a Cabbage Patch ground.
Out of the ground.
Well, it's a shady ground. There's like a tree over there.
There's a big tree over the top of it, and and they give birth every day, daily. They give birth to new Cabbage Patch dolls.
There's a weird hospital involved.
Yeah,
and nurses.
Nurses dressed up as nurses as well. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome to America, they said.
You can bring them, your broken dolls, to that hospital, I want to say. Can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's actually a hospital they can repair.
That's right.
Broken Cabbage Patch dolls too. So there you go.
I want to also mention with the Nun Doll Museum, there is also there a 52 feet tall crucifix.
What? Wow,
that's a big crucifix.
Wow. See, this even gets better. So Indian River. In Michigan, we're talking about Indian River, Michigan. If you don't know want more information, obviously just Google these things, guys. Google everything. Nun Doll Museum, Indian River, Michigan. There you go. Next one, Jack, we're going to on the list. Yeah, Minnesota. Minnesota. Tell us about Minnesota.
Here we go.
Okay, well, Minnesota. I mean, I'm going with the Ball of Twine. I know that Olio talked about it. She can think the Ball of Twine is somewhere else. That's fine. But what people don't realize is there's two important reasons why you got to go to the Minnesota Ball of Twine. It's in Darwin, Minnesota. That's not one of the reasons. Reason number one, biggest ball of twine built by one man. There's the distinction. See, Minnesotans, we can do it ourselves like nobody's business, and we did.
Exactly.
So good old Francis Johnson, 29 years, made the old ball of twine. So that's number one. Number two, Weird Al wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, he did too. There you go.
Jack.
Well, there you go.
So in March, we had a roadside attraction, March Madness.
Yes.
Where we put roadside attraction against roadside attraction.
Yes.
And I was so hurt, Jack, that the Minnesota's Ball of Twine, I all the aspects created by one man. The song, the guy died of inhaling twine dust.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing killed him. I mean,
his balls killed him.
The thing he created killed him. It's up there. It's one of the top roadside attractions
everything
in the
around
world.
There is like the cafe is the Ball of Twine Cafe.
Yeah.
The hotel is the Ball of Twine Motel.
Yes.
Everything else is just twine.
They've taken advantage.
So what were you saying though, Joshua? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying it's amazing. They rolled it into town. Like he built it on his farm and the town rolled it to downtown.
I feel didn't they? I think they sent it to Carson. Didn't Johnny Carson bring it? I want to say,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they flew the world's largest ball of twine. Yeah, see, we had to cut a lot of stuff because we would write we did a lot of blog articles where we would write a long blog article, and then to fit them into a book, we kind of condensed it down to make it more digestible because you don't need to know every moment of the history of the Ball of Twine, even though that's what I wrote. I don't have it here, but I wrote a book about this Dixieland band once, and the book was 900 pages, and it's you can't even hold it really. So I always have to edit stuff, and but I want to say the Ball of Twine was sent. I think Johnny Carson. I think they had the guy on the Tonight Show, and they flew the Ball of Twine on a plane
What?
I'm pretty sure.
That's amazing.
Before they moved it to its new location, I'm pretty sure they did that.
That's amazing.
Would have needed one of those army planes, the ones
I think it was. I think it was
carrier.
like a cargo plane or something. That they flew it. Yeah.
Wow. There's also a museum there. And every time I've been there, the museum hasn't been open.
Yeah,
but there's a sign on the door. It's like, if you want the museum open, go over and talk to Susie at the restaurant. She'll open it up for you.
Yeah, that's the exact. I've had the exact same experience, and it's like I want to buy stuff from them too, because if you go on the website, there's like Ball of Twine, swag, and I want to get it, but it's like I don't want to bother her at the restaurant.
She's busy. She's busy at the restaurant.
Do they sell strands of twine?
No, I think they said. I mean, the last time I checked, it was like it was. I don't remember. I remember there was something really cool that I wanted. You're gonna. It wasn't like strands of twine. It was like there was something super cool. It was like a.
I want a statue. I want a little bitty pewter statue of the ball of twine. That's what I want.
I feel like it was a twine ball making kit.
Start your own ball of twine.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was. I want to say, hold on, I'm trying to get their store. We're going to their store. Yes, I was right. My memory is not okay.
There you go.
Twine ball starter kit, $25.
So you two can start your own.
They have like shot glasses, twine ball, frisbee. I mean, it's great. So that's my pick for Minnesota. I'd also shout out, I would definitely, in addition to that, if you're in the Twin Cities and you're looking for something fun to do, the Pavik Museum of Broadcasting is in St. Louis Park. And it's it's my favorite museum in the Twin Cities. It's super cool. Not a lot of people know about it. And it's basically history of radio and early television. And so they have it's really cool because you can see the direct link from like early radio and early TV all the way to like YouTube and Spotify. And it's usually empty. There's no one there. It should be. They do a lot of school groups, but every time I go, it's like, why isn't this like a packed museum? And the displays are awesome. And like you'd spend hours there. Just it's self-guided. It's really cool. It's cheap to go. And, free parking. It's great. Pavik Museum.
That's cool.
So
there's one. Josh.
I've heard of it, but I've never gone in because I didn't think it was anything.
No, it's worth going in. It's super cool. Like just if you're like kind of a history nerd, or if you're just, and they have a lot of cool stuff about like early. They have the Minnesota Radio Broadcasters Hall of Fame. So like a lot of like, I'm also really into like early like 50s era. Like it's such a cool movement in America. These like regional children's musicians who would be like the one cowboy who like was broadcasting every day of the week in Milwaukee, or like there was like one guy who did like, and it was all live, so a lot of it has disappeared. And there was a guy Cleland Card who was like he was kind of a Swedish comedian character, and he did a thing in early days of TV in the Twin Cities, and so they have stuff on him, and it's just really cool. It's like, that, I don't know if you guys know Roger Miller, the country singer, but he's got a song called Kansas City Star. And it's all about like, he's the star of Kansas City because he dresses up like a cowboy and plays for the kids every 11 every morning. It's just such a cool thing. So there's a lot of like that era, early TV, which was such a great, I mean, you can see the foundation of so much. Like you can see the early, like, the early kind of like ideas of like, how did Saturday Night Live come to be? It was these early live wacky broadcasts where they were just like throwing anything to the wall and see what would stick. And they kind of have a lot of that documented there. So it's cool. Plus there's a theremin you can play too. Like they just have a theremin where it's one of the original theremins. Do you guys know what a theremin is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. What is it?
Theremin is like, it's the only musical instrument in the world where you don't touch it in order to produce sound. It's an electrical instrument. And it's totally sound waves, and it works off of your body's, your body's, I'm not a scientist and I'm not smart, but it's like your body's energy. So like you go like this and it changes pitch. You go up and down and it changes pitch, up and down with your hand. And then you go side to side with your other hand and that changes volume. And you can basically control and make really like a lot of the early sci-fi horror movies you hear where it's like, that
yeah.
instrument is a theremin. That's what that is. And so,
Okay.
but there was like classical musicians in the 30s and 40s that were like doing, Mozart on the theremin, but it's just two metal rods that stick out of a box that plugs in the wall, and you can play it without ever touching it. And they have one of those that's super cool to see. So,
you know what would be cool, Josh, as well, because we're talking about this being, treasures of our town and geocaching and location-based games. If you haven't been there, Josh, but if you've got an Adventure Lab credit, you could push people to places like the Pavik Museum in St. Louis, for instance, as well, to show them these hidden gems that we're talking about before too. So
that's cool. And with Adventure Labs, you can do indoors.
Yes, you can.
So you could like do something inside of it.
Exactly. And if it's
Jack, Adventure Labs are kind of like geocaching, but it's more like virtual geocaching.
Got it.
Yeah.
Where you go to the location and it takes you to a spot, you learn about it, and you have to answer a question.
Oh, cool.
And if you get the question answered correctly, you get like a find for your find count. So it's kind of
they're pretty cool.
type.
Yeah, they're different type. And they're the ones that more take you to a location that's worth going to, rather than just, finding a hidden container underneath a tree, for instance, that sort of thing. So, there you go.
Cool.
All right, mate. We're going to move on now to Missouri.
I mean, it's very, very close to the Cabbage Patch Doll in the same spirit. But I'm going to go for the Precious Moments Chapel in Carthage, Missouri. Do you know? I mean, did they have Precious Moments in Australia?
No. What's Precious Moments?
Well,
I know. America. Anybody that has a grandma knows.
Yeah. How would you describe Precious Moments? They're like
Precious Moments are these little like
chubby baby
porcelain figurine dolls. They have really big eyes. They're usually like blonde. Typically kind of religious in nature, I'd say. Like,
it's very religious. It's like a kind of a Bible Belt thing. It's like
and you it's something you give your kid when they get baptized as a little memento.
How big are they?
They're about
they're just little
3
figurines, and they're kind of like chubby, kind of angelic looking children.
Okay, yeah, no, we didn't have those in Australia, so nothing.
Yeah, there's a museum, and the guy that created it, those are them. The guy that created it. He repainted the Sistine Chapel on the top of the chapel in Missouri, but all of the characters have been replaced by Precious Moments characters and these like chubby little figurines. And I mean, it's great people watching because you're in Missouri and there are people going to Precious Moments Chapel, and I love that. And it's fun. And the guy that did it has a crazy backstory. I mean, I kind of became obsessed with him for a little bit, like the creator of Precious Moments. And he has like this kind of tragic, like went off. I want to say, I mean, it's been years since I remember reading this, but like he kind of sort of went off the deep end and moved to Asia, I think, or something. Like had this totally like hidden life, but he made boatloads of money off of, everyone in America. If you were a kid in the 80s, 70s, 80s, you would like, it's like Joshua said. I mean, every grandma in America has a Precious Moments. Like,
no. Thank goodness, actually, they didn't come to Australia. I'll be honest. But after seeing researching a few of the photos of those things, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Precious Moments, there's a lady on TikTok that takes the Precious Moments dolls and she repaints them to be something else, and it's usually something totally not Precious Moment. Like Precious Moments are very like religious, angelic little children, like basically turning it into Alice Cooper. I saw her do one. I saw her do one where she turned one of the Precious Moments into Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Pop culture, like Marty from Back to the Future. Like, it's fascinating. I'll have to find it and put in the show notes. But it's Precious Moments. They all look alike too. They look so similar. Yeah. So it's fascinating that this woman like changes them and makes them look, cool.
No, we actually just wrote about, like 2 days ago, we wrote about, there's a little town in Canada, and the whole town has been like terrorized because people's garden gnomes are going missing. And for a while their garden gnomes were like disappearing. And then now it just like the news just broke, but basically somebody is driving around and they'll knock on your door, on your door of the person that's like gnomes went missing. And they'll hand you a card and it says the Gnome Restoration Society. And it just says, follow me to my van. And you go to the van and there's this lady hands you a card and you go to her van, and in the back of the van, she is the one who stole, or she's with the society that stole your gnomes, and then they totally clean them, repaint them, get them like
Aw.
pristine brand new, and then give you back your gnomes back. And it's like this random act of kindness thing that's like,
Wow.
it's so incredibly Minnesotan that it should be Minnesotan, but it's like, I mean, it's Canada. And as soon as I cross, like, I mean, you know, it's funny. I don't know if this happens to you, Joshua, but like, as soon as I go anywhere like south of the Iowa border, every person in America has always asked me what part of Canada I'm from.
True.
From the accent. So, I love that story. So that's kind of, it reminds me of your TikTok lady, because it's like,
Yeah, that's totally cool.
yeah, it's great.
I love that. All right.
Nebraska.
We're heading to Nebraska.
Carhenge.
What?
You guys.
Oh,
have you been to
yes.
Carhenge?
I've never been, but I've heard of it.
I have.
It's you have.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go. So what did you think of Carhenge? Did you like it?
I loved it. I loved it. And it's the same as there's a couple out there as well. I think one's in Texas and there's one somewhere in another state too, where the cars themselves, where they're not half dug in, but there's some dug into the dirt and they're all the way along. So yeah, the Carhenge though itself, I really enjoyed it. I love that sort of stuff though too, like the quirky, weird, big things, even roadside attractions, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy it. But no, yeah. So tell us more about what's in your book though in regards to
Well, I mean, it's 39 vintage cars. They tried to recreate Stonehenge with cars. And it's totally bizarre and wild. And I'm like, my wife and I are huge fans of, I don't know if you guys know that band Ylvis. Have you heard of them? They're like, they had that hit song like 10 years ago, What Would the Fox
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And that was like their breakout song, but that wasn't funny or good. I mean, it was good, but like they are like comedians and they're like Norwegian. They're two Norwegian brothers, and they have this song called What's the Meaning of Stonehenge? And you guys have got to like watch the music video to this. It's on YouTube. And just look up Ylvis, Ylvis. And it's like this, like they do like parody. It's like parody music, like skits, and like they'll parody like a cappella bands, and they'll parody like, and this is kind of their like Celine Dion power ballad about Stonehenge and how he's like his whole life he's going mad because he doesn't know the meaning of Stonehenge. And so like when we went to Carhenge, we like just blasted this power ballad song, and like I have these great memories of us just being like, what's the meaning of Carhenge? It's like, those were total nerds, but like that's so I would highly recommend. It's great for selfies.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of cars.
So it's in Alliance, Nebraska, which is towards the west side. This is why I haven't been there, because I haven't done much travel in western Nebraska.
It's pretty. I really like Nebraska a lot. I think it's like there's so much cool, weird. Like it's weird because we're starting to like the more we do travel blogging and stuff, the more we realize like every time we write about a weird like monster, beast, like something. we'll get like people that comment actively, and like people in Nebraska more than any other state in the Midwest love their monsters and they're like beasts and they're like weird stuff. Like I feel like Nebraska has this totally weird, like it's funny because like we wrote this article about this school teacher who went completely crazy. Have you heard about this? That like it's in the 1800s and like it was in Nebraska outside of Omaha. And she went mad. I can tell you, like, I can look it up if you want me to tell you, but like, she went totally crazy. But it's a ghost story. So, like, did it actually happen? I don't know. But like, the story is she basically cut all the heads off her students.
Yikes.
And, like,
Wow.
threw their hearts in the river. And like, people say you can visit the schoolhouse where this happened. And it's like, we got so many people that emailed us personal experiences about like, oh, I've heard the kids screaming. I walked across the bridge. Oh my God. And like, the people in Nebraska love that stuff. So I feel like there's this whole, like, I don't know. I feel like the next like guidebook we're going to write after Ohio is going to be Nebraska. It's either Nebraska or Missouri, but we're really like planning Nebraska because there's just so much weird, cool, just stuff in Nebraska. I love Nebraska.
I've noticed that as well going across the US. The different towns you see, you almost got that feeling as soon as you hit to a small town of some sort, and you actually feel the weirdness, the strangeness, the something's not right here, for instance, or something's just different. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily not right, but just different. And I like that. I really do like that too. So yeah, I've experienced a few of those in North and South Dakota. Mm-hmm. I can't tell the story on this on this show in regards to one that I found in South Dakota, but anyway, that's for another episode. All right, we're going to move on now to North Dakota.
Well,
North Dakota.
Lawrence Welk Homestead. You have no idea who Lawrence Welk is.
No.
I know. Yeah. I know who Lawrence Welk is.
This is another very Midwestern thing, but he was huge. I mean, he's probably still in parts of the Midwest, like played on PBS on Saturday nights, realistically. Yes. If you're ever stuck in a hotel room in like Nebraska and the only thing you can tune in and they don't have cable, motel room, and you get PBS, Lawrence Welk is still probably playing. He called his music champagne music, and it was very like, he's like, how would you describe it? Maybe like North Dakota Liberace, maybe?
Yeah. it's like cheesy. It's like leisure suits. They're like lines of women in pastel colored dresses singing songs.
Yeah, and they would do like light versions of like music by the Carpenters or something. Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? And he played accordion, and he had this very goofy like a one and a two and a voice. And like, he had the very thick, goofy North Dakota accent. And I love Lawrence Welk. He had like a long-standing record deal with Reader's Digest where they would put out these like, you can find them at any Goodwill in America, these like thick, like I just bought one for 50 cents at our Goodwill here in Winona, and it's like 18 vinyl records boxed together.
Yeah.
And it's like Lawrence Welk Orchestra plays the classics, and it's like his like light, like it's kind of like Midwestern elevator music doing the most popular like classical music of all time. And like, but it was like 50 cents and it's like 18 records, and like I love that. And so this is his homestead. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's not a hugely popular tourist destination.
Yeah, you know, and most of the people
like, you have to be
most of the people that
go.
Yeah. Most of the people that would enjoy it are probably dead or nearly dead.
Yes.
I think so. But I feel like maybe I'm on a mission to like
revive
stuff alive.
Keep it alive.
Keep it alive.
Like, if you're like a hipster into cottagecore, go listen to Lawrence Welk and you'll be the coolest kid on the block.
And
there you go.
And R.I.P. Lawrence Welk from May 17th, 1992. He left our beloved world as such, per se, and he apparently had his English speaking, but had a very marked German accent. So
yes,
yeah. I mean, I feel like in the Midwest, like the North, we lived in North Dakota for a while, and we still have a house up there, and like it's a very thick. Like we were outside of Grand Forks for a while, and it's very like that accent, very very thick.
Well, here's a little bit of trivia for you too. He didn't actually learn to speak English until he was 21. So there you go.
Wow, that's why the accent's so thick.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go, Lawrence Welk, love him. You should listen to it. Stream him on Spotify when we're done, Craig. You're gonna.
100% will not be doing that. Anyway, next up we have Ohio, Jack. Ohio. What's in Ohio?
This is one we had to include in the book. This is one I have not yet been to, but I love it, and I love the idea of it. Kitty's been there. She loved it. Cornhenge. Which is
another henge.
Another henge. It really doesn't look anything like Stonehenge or Carhenge. It's Cornhenge, and it basically is Dublin, Ohio, which is like a Columbus suburb. And they basically wanted my take on it, at least. Kitty's been there, so she could speak better on it. But my take is they basically wanted something to have a selfie somewhere in this suburban sprawl. And they made these like they're corn, but they don't look like corn really. And it's like, are you looking at?
They're white. I'm looking at the pictures right now. They're about 8 feet tall. Yeah. They're 8 feet tall. They're white. Yeah. Ears of corn. sticking out of the ground in rows.
Yeah.
It almost looks like they're like gravestones that are corn.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they're 6 foot tall. They're 1,500 pounds, and they're not in a hen. They're not in a. It's not like Stonehenge.
No,
it's like
they're actually in a
lines
square.
of corn.
It's lines.
Yes.
It's and they're probably about 12 foot apart, or 12, 15 foot apart.
Yeah, about
in straight lines.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very odd. It feels very. I mean, we actually played a couple shows in Dublin before, and like, it's very suburban. It's just like kind of like it's kind of a nice, just like average suburb, but it's like so weird that they made this, and I think the Arts Council funded it, and they got Dublin Art Council funded it, and it's like they got an artist to do it, and it's like weird. It just feels, it's like one of those things where like it's new. It's pretty new.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like been within the last, I don't know, 20 years or something. 1994. So like
looking at this as well, if you went there at like dusk, for instance, as well, just as the sun was going down, you would seriously feel, because the color and shape, you would seriously feel this was a graveyard with the ghosts rising up from the graves. That's what it looks like. Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. Kitty liked going, and she wanted to put it in the book, but I think I'll go at some point, obviously.
Well, it's all about the weird things as well. Bizarre, quirky, and totally fun, which is that ticks all those boxes, Jack. So just
we really tried hard.
All right, we're going to move on now to South Dakota. What's in South Dakota?
I mean, I got to go for the wall drug.
You got
Have you dug wall drug?
No, I haven't been to Wall Drug.
You've never been to Wall Drug?
No.
Oh my gosh! Have you been to Treasure City here in Minnesota?
No.
Oh yeah.
I
have a TikTok video of Treasure City that's semi-successful. Yes, love Treasure City.
It's like Treasure City on steroids. Like,
yes.
It's like the biggest tourist trap. It's so overrated. It's so. I want to say it started because they were offering free ice to tourists. I feel like that was the start of it, and it was like, it's so massive, and it's just like, like stuff your kids would whine and want to buy. I don't have kids, but I know that it's cheesy kind of stuff that like kids would just like whine until they got their way.
So for everyone out there, what we're talking about is actually a big store, like a big warehouse store type style. We're not talking about a something big like the corn or anything like. It's a big store, a Wall Drug store, and yes, it's got a few things in front of it. Like there's a hare and a rabbit and a dinosaur. There's a few different things in front of it. But it is just a huge, basically like a huge visitor center sort of store with a lot of tourists.
Still sell 5-cent cups of coffee. And the coffee is like, I mean, I'm not a snob when it comes to coffee, and I'll drink just about anything, but like, it's like revolting, but it's 5 cents and you're at Wall Drugs. So like, you have
to do it. You have to get it. Exactly these things you have to get. So there you go.
So Wall Drug is on I-90, which goes, all the way across or whatever, Interstate I-90. And the big joke with Wall Drug is, all around the country, it said, there's signs that say Wall Drug, 1,000 miles, Wall Drug, 2,000 miles. Yeah. And in the movie Spaceballs, I believe the ship is flying by something, and there's a Wall Drug that says 2 billion miles or something. Yeah.
I totally
so there's a pop culture reference to Wall Drug.
Yep.
There you go.
Wall Drug, have to do it. Love it.
Yep. You've got to you've got to go there just to get a 5-cent coffee, if anything else. So, which is extremely rare.
Throw it out in the parking lot.
Exactly. Just you bought it
just
at least.
To say you got it.
Just to say you got it. Yeah. All right, mate. We're going to move on to the last one now. This is the 12th one in Wisconsin.
I got to hit too because it's important. I'm shouting out Joshua's childhood here. World's largest six-pack, La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm assuming you've been many times.
Oh yeah. I've been many times.
Okay, good. It's people think it's like, it's the world's largest six-pack. It's the local brewery. They have like 6 things, but like what's great is
storage.
Yeah, it's like things.
Silos.
And what's great is that there were kids. The greatest story when we were researching it is that a bunch of drunk college kids. They weren't drunk at the time, hopefully, but they came. Party kids from Madison, University of Madison, drove to La Crosse because they heard the world's largest keg was there to tap the keg. They got an axe. and smashed the bottom of the storage, and like beer flooded everywhere. And, like, it went everywhere. And that's one of my favorite stories about it. And great selfie. They just repainted it and kind of refurbished it, and it looks all jazzy, and it's fun. I mean, you just there's nothing you just go and take a picture and say you were at the world's largest six pack. So it's worth doing.
Well, when I saw this, I was going to say, Josh, when I saw this, mate, I didn't actually think of beer, to be honest with you. I actually thought of my stomach, but anyway, but no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. World's largest and six pack are kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah, exactly.
Stomach.
It's hidden.
Like usually it's a one. Yeah, usually it's a one pack on the stomach. I remember this as a child. Back in the 80s, it was I believe when they created it. I don't know when they created it, but I remember it in the 80s.
Yep.
And it was old style. Old style beer was the original beer. Now old style, I think, has gone out of business, or they don't brew old style there anymore. And so now it's like some sort of lacrosse brew. And I just remember as a child driving by that factory, and it's stinky. You know, big beer making business. It's a stinky business, as those grains or whatever the fermentation process is. It's a stinky place.
Yeah.
The hops. Yes, that's right. The hops. Wow, we did it.
I love. Well, we did it, but I gotta throw out one more.
He's got a bonus.
Okay,
one. He's got
bonus
a bonus
in Wisconsin.
Bonus.
Hodag. Gotta go Hodag. Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Greatest named beast of all of Midwest. Love the Hodag.
Have you been to the Hodag tour?
Head of a frog, face of an elephant, back of a dinosaur. Hodag, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. You'll find them all over the place.
Face of an elephant.
There's a big, Hodag you can go take a picture with. But you'll find Hodag beer. You'll find Hodag everything in Wisconsin.
There you go.
I believe we have a listener of the show from Wisconsin. That is his geocaching name. Jack. All geocachers have like geocaching handles.
Yeah, I saw that.
And his name he's from Wisconsin. He is the Happy Hodag.
That's right. He is too. There you go.
So, hats off.
I never knew what a Hodag was.
Shout out to the Hodag. It's basically, it's like a mythical beast that this it's like pretty much proven that this like a con man just created this wacky thing to like mess with the town. And it's like he did a Hodag hunt and he took pictures with a Hodag, and it looks so fake and horrible. And like the town has embraced it, but there actually are some indigenous like stories that go way, way back to like a beast from Indiana, and there could be some truth, but it's so ridiculous looking. Like this thing is just like it's like they decided we need a beast. Like let's throw every possible thing. Like frogs, elephants, dinosaurs, spiky thing. It's like
spiky heads, spikes out your teeth. Out each side of the incisors and whatnot too. So
but you can get your picture with a Hodag. You can go Hodagging. There's a Hodag music festival. It's one of country music biggest. I think it was for a while, maybe still is, like one of the bigger country music festivals in Wisconsin. It's the Hodag Music Festival.
It's the hoedown in Hodag. That's what it is. So there you go. Well, Jack, mate, we're running out of time, but will you stay around after this show itself? And we're going to record a little extra just for our patrons itself, if you don't mind. We've got two more questions for you, mate. For our patrons,
bonus
only.
Questions.
What do you think, Josh? That's a good idea you had.
Yes. I have some other questions.
Yeah.
So there you go, people. We've just given you more value. 12 more spots to visit.
Yeah.
You can't miss. 12 more things to check off your travel checklist. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jack, for sharing some of your wacky, wild, quirky, bizarre, and fun. Don't forget fun adventures. Jack, where can people find you? I know you mentioned it before at your website, jack&kitty.com. Is that right?
Jack and Kitty, like a cat, Kitty, jackandkitty.com is our website, and we have links out. We're not huge on social. We're mainly just really focused on our blog, and YouTube is, if you search Jack and Kitty or Midwest Travel Podcast, you'll find our YouTube channel, and starting July 23rd, that'll be daily videos on the YouTube channel. And if you go to Amazon and just type in Jack and Kitty, or Jack, our last name is Norton, so if you want to type in Jack or Kitty Norton, you'll find us. But Jack and Kitty will get you anywhere, and really appreciate it.
Or if you're lazy and don't want to type anything else at all, there's the link in the show notes as well, as always, Josh.
Oh, thank God. I didn't want to have to do all that.
That's all right, mate. I'll do it all for you. It's all good. That's what I'm here for. Meanwhile, Josh, we spoke before about we're going to have Jack answer a couple more questions for our patrons. How can people if they want to listen to that, how can they become patrons?
Yes. If you want some golden nuggets, if you want to search for that treasure and open up the treasure box and see some golden nuggets, you got to come over to Patreon. Yeah. And if you support us there, you help us to keep this going, create better content, no annoying commercials. Although Miller High Life, if you're listening, that's our favorite, like cheap beer, Jack.
Yeah,
Josh's favorite.
So consider. One of you was wearing a Miller High Life, weren't you? Like a T-shirt or a hat. The episode I was listening to.
Yeah, I was at one time.
Yes. So come over there on the other side of the paywall, patreon.com/treasures of our town.
And remember, there's fan mail over on our Buzzsprout site as well. But otherwise, how else can people contact us, Josh?
Reach out to us at treasuresofourtownpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
And that's it for our show. So please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting app. And as always,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the world. See you next time. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.